Hello and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Melissa, but if you are one of my free-spirited subscribers, then you already know that you can call me Missy. Additionally, if you've been following along, then you would know that this is not my usual background. I am on vacation, and since I'm on vacation, I wanted to do something really chill, and what's more chill than a walk through Hobbiton? So while I'm here on this vacation, I'm going to imagine that I'm walking through Hobbiton and I'm going to draw some Hobbit holes. I had this idea while I was sitting at my farmer's market booth and I started to draw a sketch, and interestingly somebody came up and they pointed to one of my paintings. This particular painting is of the door of Bag End, and this person was really excited by it. They wanted to purchase the print, and they also asked me if I had other Lord of the Rings Hobbit related art, and I was like, no, unfortunately, but I actually am going to be working on some next week. So here I am, ready to get to work on some more Hobbit paintings. Before I go on rambling all the way to Mordor, let's get to work on this project. As I was doing my intro, I noticed that I had like zero battery. Actually, my battery died like after I did the intro, so I had to plug it in. But while that was charging, this is what I was doing. So there's some sketch in there, you can see, and then I've toned the paper with just a light, very light yellowish wash. So I have my sketch down and I can go ahead and start painting in some of these details. What I did here was come up with 4 angles on this. So the idea is that we're looking down on this particular front yard space. Here goes painting. Here goes painting indeed, except what I'm actually doing here is just darkening some of the lines with my pencil before getting started with the painting, because I decided that I was struggling to see what the heck I was doing. In order to represent the various seasons, I thought about doing each of the paintings at a different time of day, and this time of day is supposed to represent the morning, a nice golden morning, so a nice yellow door, very cheerful. I feel like spring has a very hopeful atmosphere because right after the snow all melts, everything becomes really green, except of course the trees whose leaves have not yet grown back and or bushes. And so you start to get this feeling of life coming back, and yet the trees are still kind of naked and dead. But there's definitely like a sort of sleepy energy, so I wanted to try and embody that just a little bit. I was thinking about how a hobbit might be living at about this time of year, and I figured that there would probably be a little pile of wood by the door, but they're not using it as much, so it's not as fully stocked up as it was throughout the winter. There's a little wheelbarrow that's been brought out as our little hobbit gets ready to start getting the planting season started. And of course I had to add some nice springtime tulips to the picture as well. In addition to having each season be at a different time of the day, I also wanted it to be from a different angle. So spring and summer would be kind of from above looking down as I had described. And so that gave me a great opportunity for this particular painting to go ahead and throw in some tree branches from above and get a nice up above view of this little bird's nest. And then I decided I needed to add some line work on top of everything just to make everything pop, especially in the focal region. And to start out with, I really wanted to use this fountain pen because it's just kind of fun to use, except for I cannot control the ink. And so there are a few times that it started bleeding everywhere and I tried some other pens. I came back to the fountain pen and it did not hold up well again, so I switched to this brush tip marker. It ended up being a bit of a happy accident that that other pen was bleeding so much, because it meant that my shadows were a little bit more intense the way that they would be at early sunrise morning time. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. But I do think I should have probably given a little bit more thought to the lighting because I'm not sure that it does read as morning time when the whole thing is done. It's a new day, and in a lot of ways, it's a new me. I put on press-on nails for the first time ever, and I've already had to redo the thumbs several times because they just fell right off. And as I was setting up the camera, the middle finger on this hand came off. So I don't know how long these are gonna last. I think they're fun. In other news, I finished spring yesterday, so today we're gonna try and get summer done. I feel like for spring, the color was very much yellow. Yellow was the theme for spring, so I'm not sure what I want the theme to be for summer. I feel like blue could work, but I feel like blue is very winter. I'm not sure. I guess I'm just gonna get sketching and we'll see how things go. What is the world like in summer? This time I brought with me some brain snacks that I really needed, and I had to eat almost all of them before I could actually get started with some brainstorming. And even then, they had to be all gone before I could actually get my brain to start functioning. But it happened, it worked. And after this quick brainstorm session, I was able to get started on sketching out my ideas. Now, I imagine when you're walking through Hobbiton, you're looking at the different Hobbit houses, and each of them has a little bit of a different design around the front door, depending on the Hobbit's abilities, maybe their wealth, maybe their family's craftsmanship. And so I imagine a Hobbit neighborhood has a lot of character and a lot of variation in the whole designs. Saga continues. I lost this one, I reattached this one, and now I'm still one nail down. Here it is, the one. So I'll probably reattach it at some point, maybe, but back to the painting. I then decided that blue would be the color theme for summer because the sky is always blue in summer. At least that's the way I conceive of it. I do have a playlist that I listen to that is Hobbit themed. It just has songs on it that make me think Hobbit. And yes, that was one of the songs on it. However, despite listening to this playlist, I still made a fatal mistake at the end of this painting that you will not see on this video until the very end, but I was really sad about it. It's a new day. It's a new day and we're gonna paint. I just got a wash on this drawing, which is very light, so you probably can't see it very well, but I had drawn this sketch in my sketchbook and I wanted this drawing to look somewhat like that, if not exactly like that. And I was attempting to do some like actual perspective last night when I was working on it, and I'm glad I worked on it last night. I redrew it several times because I could not figure out how to do perspective. I've taken quite a few art classes, some of them in college, some of them in high school, and there was often a unit on perspective. And it was always my least favorite unit, and I'm not a fan of drawing landscapes, and I'm definitely not a fan or even very good at drawing structures. So I'm feeling out of my depth with this entire project, but even more so now that I'm trying to draw more geometric shaped structures in perspective. I kind of just gave up on linear perspective and just kind of eyeballed it, and I'm hoping that it looks okay because I need to continue with this series. So maybe someday I will revisit perspective and actually practice it.
But today is not that day. Here we go.
I know you're all living for the nail drama, so this is what my nails looked like at the beginning of this. I think I had them all glued back on. Additionally, I decided that since I was on vacation with my family, I should maybe spend some time in the space with them, and so you can see my secret in the background. And my secret is that this was filmed the weekend of the 4th of July. This tablecloth did end up staining the table of the Airbnb when some water inevitably got underneath it. Additionally, if you were looking closely a little bit earlier, you saw that several of my nails fell off and they were sitting at the corner of the video. So rewind if you didn't catch that.
My studio needs to be cleaned up, but it has been a hectic week, and so what I need to do is prioritize this project. I'm also really nervous because the lighting for this one is going to be nighttime lighting and it's going to be snow, and I just don't know. I have zero confidence in myself. Here it goes.
Despite having already sketched out the autumn drawing in my sketchbook, it took a lot of time to actually put that painting together. As I said, there was a lot of drama behind the scenes with the sketch itself on the watercolor paper. And then as I was painting it, I kept thinking that it looked awful the entire time. So I also spent a lot of time working on painting it and adding more and more paint layers until I at least thought it was okay. So yeah, I ended up having to do this painting in my studio at home after my vacation. As you can see, the time of day I chose for this painting was nighttime, and I had actually looked up some references for some cozy nighttime lighting, and actually I felt pretty good about how this was turning out. I know that hobbits wouldn't have celebrated Christmas per se, but they would have celebrated some kind of solstice type holiday, something that has to do with renewal. And I just thought that the hobbits would go crazy for a wreath. I mean, their doors are circles. I rest my case.
It's time to wrap things up on this episode. I've got all of my cute little hobbit holes. I was so happy with how the doorway came out on this guy, and I'm really upset with myself for biffing it at the last moment and creating this sunbeam. I was trying something, it didn't work. It just kept getting worse and worse. I had to go with it. I feel like I somewhat salvaged it, but I am utterly shocked by how this winter one went out. I was the least confident about it. And just look at how cozy it looks. I am the least secure about how this guy turned out. I feel like it's okay at this point, but just, I don't know, the focal point isn't focal pointing, so that's a little concerning. Thank you so much for watching to the end of this video. If you liked anything about that video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. And if you would like to see more of what I do art, I do sewing projects, I do home improvement things, and I'll just do other random stuff. So if you'd like to join along, go ahead and subscribe. And one other way that you can support my channel is any kind of engagement is super duper helpful. So if you could go ahead and leave an emoji in the comments below. How about something that signifies the season of your favorite painting from this video? And then I'll try and guess which one that you are thinking about. And I really hope to see you in the next one. Bye!